You will own nothing and you will be happy. Now we've heard that. We've heard everybody talking about that because everyone knows what the World Economic Forum and the Global Reset is all about. However, what we hear is now coming true. Even though we think it's not going to come true, and we hear people say, oh, we've lived through Y2K and all you preppers are crazy and all you people who believe that the World Economic Forum is out for their own good globalist push and you guys are just crazy. Watch this video today and see really what is happening all around you. It may surprise you. Today's video is going to be a good one, and it starts right now.
Oh my child, I know you're hurt and you can't let go.
Well, another beautiful day of rain, so I'm not complaining. We need the rain, so we're inside doing this video today. Thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the Max. If you're new to our channel, please go down here and press subscribe. We've had a lot of people view, but we're not getting you to click the subscribe button and ring the bell. So we hope that you will ring the bell, give us a thumbs up, comment on this video and tell me what you think, what you're seeing in your area, because we do have some naysayers that say, oh, you people are crazy. We're not that crazy. So if you look at some of the comments of these videos, it'll open your eyes to really what is happening in each of our neck of the woods. So today's video is all about that. Let's jump right into it. First, we're going to talk about the houses. You know, it says you own nothing and you will be happy. The whole push of globalists is to get a renter's mentality, that you can't own anything, that you're always going to have to pay someone to stay where you're at. That means the control is always in their hands. If you don't own it, you have no rights to it. If you can't be in control of it, then they're controlling you. So let's look at this. Inflation. Record inflation has put the housing market almost out of touch for normal, median, middle America. The average house cost is $400,000. That's up 8%. Now that means it's a great seller's market, but for a typical buyer, you can't buy. That's almost untouchable. Here's the scary thing though. Incomes are going up, but because the interest rate is going up, the feds keep raising the interest rate. That means having a mortgage is getting almost untouchable as well. So maybe you thought you could afford that $300,000 or $400,000 home when it was a 2 or 3% interest for mortgage on a 15 or 30-year note. Well, not anymore. A traditional 30-year note are going anywhere from 6 to 8% on average now. So how can you afford a 30-year mortgage at 6 to 8% and hoping that nothing changes in that time and you're buying a home that is way inflated? So the inflated price of home and also the raise of interest rates and the fact that everything else is getting more expensive, so all that money you devoted and dedicated towards your mortgage may not be as much as you thought it was. You will own nothing and you will be happy. You're starting to see there's even a push with millennials and Gen Z saying it's okay not to want debt, so let's just rent. Well, that mentality has been pushed on us, so we think that it's okay just to rent for the rest of our lives. If we get into that way of thinking, then that means they control us in where we're sheltered at, where we live at, so we're going to listen to whatever they say. Is that the plan? That we listen to what they say, and when we don't, we may be evicted. The housing market kind of proves it. You will own nothing. Will you be happy though? Next, let's talk about the groceries and supermarkets in your food. We talk about food all the time. As a homesteader, as a prepper, that is what we hone in on probably the most is your food. Axios just came out with a report saying Americans are buying less at the supermarket, not only for food to eat in present time, but also to put back for later use. Cereals and baked goods are up 16%. Dairy products up 15.9%. Fruits and vegetables 10 to 15% depending on what you're buying and where you're buying it from. Here's a big one. Meat and poultry are up 9%. However, they're up about 10% over last year's price. So you're starting to see some of those things like meat, dairy, grains really climbing. Prior to this, as we talked about the housing, we see a discretionary income, or we see income that we're usually using for other things. Now we're having to use it for food because our food is going up because of some of the prices. But we blame politicians on the skyrocketing prices. We blame them on inflation. But the thing I always often wonder is this the plan? Do we want to see chaos? Do we want to see food prices go up? Do we want to see the fact that we can't have a home like we've always wanted, live the American dream as we heard. But we see that we can't stockpile or prep as much because the cost of everything is going up. There's been a lot of comments on our video saying, hey, it's hard for me to stockpile, it's hard for me to put up, it's hard for me to save money because we're living paycheck to paycheck. So if inflation's going up, interest rates are going up, things are costing more to purchase, our savings are going down, all of a sudden we can't buy a home. Is this the plan? Now we're seeing restaurants, even in America, especially some of the more liberal states, are saying restaurant prices will have to go up, not because just the food, the energy consumption. It's saying that natural gas, because of the price of it, because of the fuel to get the food there, because there's shortages on a lot of those things, especially in California, they're saying that a lot of restaurants are going to be hit hard, the fact because they cannot get the natural gas to even cook. Or if they're buying it, they're paying more for it. So therefore, the cost of buying food when you don't have it at home, and say you're just going out, or say you're working, if you're having to go to these restaurants and buy food, it's going to cost you a lot more. And that pushes back to our home. If all of a sudden it costs more to operate our homes, so we know the homes are hard to buy now, food is scarce and sparse and we can't buy as much as we had, and then all of a sudden just to cook it or to buy it now is costing more because of the natural gas and the fuel to cook it or to buy it. Do you see the chain reaction? Getting to a point where our money is not worth nearly what we thought it was. It's amazing we hear politicians tell us they're giving us more money, they're giving us stimulus, they're giving more value to your dollar. No, they're not. They're actually adding more debt as a nation. They're adding more problems on us than we can even see. But I go back and say, is it the plan? The more money they give you, the more you want to vote them in because you think they're giving you something, and actually they're not giving you anything. They're giving you more inflation and more interest issues and more chaos, because then it allows them to step in other facets of your life. You're giving them control. As they give you money, they're giving you control. That's crazy, but it's the truth. Don't you see the initiatives that are being pushed and the agendas that are being pushed on you is actually impacting you more than you realize? Last point I want to make is jobs and retirement. Our job is our meal ticket. That's what helps us make money to buy things and have an income to take care of our families. Now we're seeing these big businesses, Microsoft, these big companies like that, they're planning to lay off like 1,000 employees. You see Elon Musk talking about buying Twitter. Now, I believe he needs to fire a lot of people at Twitter. Beside the point. I'm going to release so we can make this company more viable. You may not see businesses hiring anymore. You may not see raises. Facebook said they're doing employee freezes. So when you see big businesses do employee freezes, guess what? You're going to see small businesses do employee freezes. You're going to see the raises not happening. So if all of a sudden inflation is at 8% so far year over year, and then you're not seeing where you may have saw either 2 or 3 or 4% raise this last year, you may not see a raise this year. You may be thankful, and your employer may come to you and say, you're just lucky to have a job because right now we're struggling. If that's the case, if the utilities are costing more, if maybe the government is implementing more taxes and the businesses are now starting to see struggles of their own, if personally you're feeling these struggles, then businesses are going to feel these same struggles. They may not can borrow money because all of a sudden the interest rates are too high. The inflation is affecting them because they're part of the supply chain. You see how it affects you. All of a sudden now your retirement, average employee, average person with a 401k under their employer has lost $34,000 on average. Now that's not talking about a 20-year-old most likely. That's talking about someone that's been at their job maybe 10, 15, 20 years. That's a median income now. It's only $30,000 to $40,000 on average for a lot of states. So someone may have lost a whole year's worth of wages just in a few months under this administration. Gradual domino effect into a major economic situation that will cost you. So now, real quick, let's jump into some solution. You will own nothing and you will be happy. Well, if you learn to not be happy, then you're going to vote better. You're going to vote with your dollar. You're going to learn to want more. You're going to quit putting these politicians in that are just sleazy and they are lying to you. Politicians need to be cleared out. There's probably less than 10% that actually cares about the American people. So first and foremost, quit electing these people into office. And then when people say, well, voting doesn't matter, then vote with your dollar. Vote with your money. Quit spending money. Learn to budget when you can. Learn to buy from people who are just like us, just like you, who is trying to earn just a living for their family. So instead of going to that big chain restaurant, you go to the local mom and pop down the road. You know, we talked about this with Walmart and Amazon. Sometimes we have to buy from those big box stores. We understand. I understand that. I have to do it too. I'm guilty of it. But when we can, let's buy from the local mom and pop. Let's buy from the guy down the road who can help us fix a tire if we needed it. If we learn to budget and we learn to take care of our funds as much as possible, learn not to spend as much, learn to grow a garden, learn to supplement our food, we're learning to pick up a side hustle. Nobody wants to work more. I know, man, I'm telling you, I'm already working from daylight to dark. But sometimes if we have to pick up those extra jobs, or sometimes we have to pick up those extra side hustles just to get us through some tough times, it will help us be more thankful for the monies that we are now getting. I always believe there is hope in every solution. We're not quite at Agenda 2030. We're not quite at a whole globalist push. You're starting to see around the world, you're not seeing it on local news and you're not seeing it on cable news, but you're starting to see a lot of people in their countries pushing back on this narrative. And so you're not the only guy in town that's thinking like this. There's a lot of people. So us as a populace, we have to vote with our dollars. We have to vote these people out of office who are just manipulating us to tell us what we want to hear. These politicians are not looking out for us. They're looking out for themselves. So when you go to Aldi, don't buy the new crickets that they're putting in their sections. It came out that Aldi's going to start putting a low-income section for insects for you to buy to eat. You're not a bug. You're not a peasant. Time to see what they're doing and how they're manipulating us. We need to learn to build these parallel economies. When we support each other, we work together, and we get good people back in office, and we vote with our dollar and support people who are just like us, who are trying to make a living and who are wanting to help their neighbor. You won't own nothing, but you can't be happy. You got to want more. Don't allow the media, these politicians, and this globalist push set the narrative for your life. Because one day you'll look back and you'll regret it. It's not too late, but it's getting pretty close. We have to realize what it means to take care of your family and gain wisdom from truth, not from the narrative they're pushing. Guys, thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you think about this video, and hey, I hope you have a great, wonderful day. Start doing some of these things. Look at where your money's going, build a budget, grow your food, grow as much food as you can, grow anything. Build a business as a side hustle. One good thing about the internet is we can learn to sell online. Maybe you can come up with something. Maybe you can build a new trade. Maybe you can become a handyman. Maybe you can deliver pizzas. Whatever it is, do it for your family and know those sacrifices will benefit you in the long haul. Guys, thank you again for watching. God bless. Happy homestead.
It'll be alright.